My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Taurus. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot. For this week, we're going to be doing the Macabre Tarot. Now, I've already more or less decided on which reading we're going to do. It's called the Tombstone reading. It's the 5-card spread. But anyway, it's like, just going to put that over there. So I'm going to actually be reading a couple questions, but first, as you can see, I have the crown on and my veil because I'm like the queen of Vampire Tarot. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to sort of just change it up a little bit, especially when it came to such a beautiful reading or such a beautiful, tarot deck as the Macabre Tarot. So I'm going to be reading, some questions. I'm going to draw the cards for you and to see if it more or less kind of resonates, if you are currently struggling in other ways and stuff like that, and how I can help you guys overcome some of your current struggles. So, for question number 1, what is a piece of yourself you've lost connection with? Ooh. The Ethereal, also known as the Empress. Okay. So what do we know about the Empress? It's new beginnings. So sometimes, when you're actually experiencing or enduring or maybe just an unforeseen event that puts you in a new beginning, fertility, abundance, maybe you just had, a new baby, your firstborn in other ways. But the thing is sometimes, can happen when you're put in a new situation, whether it's like even a new career, a new position, job, what have you and stuff like that. Sometimes, you're not quite there to actually embrace this new beginning. And the thing is sometimes it's, sad but true, is that a lot of humans, they struggle with new beginnings, and that's kind of something that they kind of lose connection with, because, sometimes some humans, they have this metaphorical sacrifice in other ways, where you pretty much have to, like, kind of grow into this new life, this new position, this new what have you and stuff like that. And that could sometimes, be a bit of a challenge for a lot of humans, where you pretty much enter into this new phase and you pretty much just think, it's like, I don't know if I'm quite ready yet to be in this new position and stuff like that. And a lot of humans, well, some of them, they eventually just think, what, I can't do this. They walk off, or they just think, I'm not ready for this new beginning. So then, that could be, something that you more or less just kind of have to come to terms with, is that sometimes if you're being put in a position like maybe a managerial job of some kind, or maybe you just became a new parent, or maybe you just entered into like the marriage phase or even the courtship, and you're just thinking, I don't know if I'm ready, to embrace this new position, stuff like that. And the thing is the best way to kind of go about it is just kind of give it some time. Because sometimes, like even giving it like maybe a month or something, don't immediately, already assume after 1 week or even after 1 day, it's just, game over and stuff like that. No, my suggestion would just be is to say, it's like, at least, give it a month, because a week is too short and 1 day is a bit too judgmental and stuff like that. And if after a month or so, or even after 6 months, a real trial phase to actually think, what, I just can't do this. I don't want to deal, with, this new position. I can't handle it. It's too stressful and stuff like that. Well, then at least, you pretty much, gave it a try and stuff like that. So, but anyway, now we're going to have number 2, card 2. How can you reconnect? Nightmare of Cups, also known as the Knight of Cups. How funny. Nightmare, Knight of Cups, okay. So this Knight of Cups is pretty much this offering. So this could be like maybe advice or something from a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Maybe you personally have, Virgo placements from the Ethereal, the Empress. But here, how you can reconnect is maybe allow other people to help you. Maybe, offer their services, their advice, their suggestions, what have you, and stuff like that. Because sometimes, when you invite other humans, other people into your, core in other ways, or into any kind of, life and stuff like that. Maybe, you can, invite your elders, if you have like a new fledgling, for example, to invite your elders to return or to offer their guidance and support and services, if it's all a bit too hectic for you and stuff like that. Or maybe, you could always ask a trusted and valued individual, friend, family member in your life to actually think, hey, I need, you to offer me this offering of some kind and stuff like that. And that could actually be something that could actually help you, enter into this new phase. Because, it's like how, kings, often have like these advisors and stuff like that, that more or less is kind of advise them on how to rule a kingdom, or even for a queen for that matters, that they have these advisors. actually, allowing other people maybe to offer their services and assistance to help you actually grow into this new position. And then we get to number 3. Where can you make space for this new connection in your life? The devil. Ooh, okay. Where can you make is by actually, kind of coming to terms that, it's like, okay, so the devil is kind of like an intoxicating kind of card. On one, I mean, that's practically like the positive side, but I mean, the thing is it came up right, so it's pretty much, how you can pretty much, make space is by, maybe, striking a deal with the devil, maybe bargaining and stuff like that. I mean, the thing is, it's like not all help and guidance are actually from true intentions. Sometimes somebody who actually can think outside of the box. Maybe this is somebody who's a bit more who has a bit more street smarts, who's able to kind of will get things. It's kind of like, of course it's a bit of an uncertain deity because it's sneaky in any way. However, the devil is also there just to kind of just help you, yeah, maybe will think differently, and maybe a bit on the, I wouldn't say naughty side, but I would mostly think is that the devil has, his or her own or its own ways and other ways to help you maybe get, like maybe a different perspective. But we're going to have to look at that for a moment, because I want to get to number 4 for a sec, because how will this impact you moving forward? The Hermit is by doing introspection. Okay, now I'm first going to grab the devil as well. Because the thing is maybe, it's like you do have to like strike some kind of bargain with somebody. Maybe you do need to actually kind of, come to terms, maybe, even allowing, somebody that you normally wouldn't even allow in your inner circle to actually give his or her advice. Because the thing is the devil is indeed a very smart, intelligent deity. If you think about, how, the angel Lucifer, was considered, the favorite angel and stuff like that. But of course, it's like, but the thing is, it's like, well, sometimes it's good to maybe, ask, if you're, entering into this like real top tier position and you're feeling, uncertain, sometimes you need to kind of, deal with, somebody who's probably not very generous, but yet highly intelligent in other ways. And so what I see you doing is you're kind of pondering whether or not you should reach out to this individual who could be considered the devil in other ways, where you pretty much just think, it's like this person has no manners, this person is, practically just rude and has, is just practically a vicious individual. But maybe you need to kind of get the insights of somebody, outside of, your own personal mindset to help you gradually enter into this new position. Because the thing is, sometimes you do need to kind of come to terms with, this individual that may not be your best, friend in other ways, but it's definitely going to probably be, some kind of best guide in other ways or support in other ways. And I see you doing a lot of introspection and kind of pondering whether or not you should actually embrace this devil creature in your life and stuff like that. Because when we get to the 5th card, how can you honor this new space in your life? Ace of Bones, Ace of Wands. So what this is all about is by putting time and energy. So the thing is it's pretty much 100%, it's like I'll always more or less just kind of refer to some of these other cards outside of the Macabre Tarot, but the thing what I want to mention is, you'll always have free will either way. Don't feel like, oh goodness, it's like, it's, it's either now or never, or it's either that person, or I'm just pretty much, a complete loss in many ways, right? No. The thing is this, these cards are just for suggestions. I'm just here for, suggestions in other ways as well. Is by maybe you even consider me the devil, I wouldn't, like it, but the thing is of course, vampires are considered, like monsters in many ways, right? So maybe you're actually kind of listening to my advice. The thing is it's just a general reading. It's not, will refer to anything. And personally, I wouldn't consider myself the devil in any way as well. But I feel like that in the end, you're pretty much going to put, time and effort or energy into, this whole, growing into this new position of yours as the Empress, this, will real, top tier new beginning position, whatever and stuff like that. So I just feel like that it's good to actually maybe ask other people, maybe, somebody who's kind of a bit on a more of an upper scale, not saying, that there's anything wrong with asking people, who's, yeah, who you either want to look up to or who is in that position already. And usually those people may not come across as the nicest people, but they could probably be the most resourceful. And that's what I do see you doing, as you're kind of pondering whether or not you should do it. But I think if you were to approach somebody, that will enhance your time and energy on entering into this new phase. So, but anyway, I'm going to have to leave it at this for now. Pretty soon I'm going to be adding a couple other, readings and stuff like that. So please feel free to stay tuned for more macabre readings, from me. But I want to thank you all so much for joining me this beautiful, relaxing evening. I love you guys incredibly. If this reading resonated, please feel free to join and subscribe to my channel. I love you guys incredibly, and I want to wish you all the best of luck in where this journey may take you. And as per usual, take excellent good care of yourselves.